blessed good morning to all as we come together on this Thursday morning. Those of us in Barbados would have had the joy of yet another Independence Day with all its pageantry up into late hours of the evening for a wonderful concert as well. As we come into this new day, beginning our day as always from a place of stillness, a place of quiet, a place of peace. We give God thanks for all that God has done for us as a nation and all that God is continually doing day by day. We want to bring before God our world and all the challenges that we face as a human family, as we pray for God's guidance, as we seek to evolve and be more human so that we may be able to truly do God's will in this world. So we come now into this place of quietness and stillness, and we ask God's presence with us in a special way. Coming into a state of peace, at this time we open our hearts to the divine. As we come into our hearts, breathing into our heart space, and as we breathe into our heart space, we feel that sense of stillness. We see ourselves resting in a place of peace. As we listen to the songs of the morning, a new day with its new opportunities. So we witness the air coming in and going out, renewing us and removing that which was spent. Reminding us of the death and life, or death and resurrection, beginning and endings, all about continuity, moving from one degree of glory to another. So be present in this moment and go deep within yourself and just allow yourself to be. We get so caught up in doing that we forget the other side. The other side is so essential to our growth and development. That of being in the stillness, just being, just allowing the moment to be the moment, and not trying to fix it or change it, but just allowing. Allowing ourselves to be without all the paraphernalia that we have acquired over the years. In these moments, it is important for us to make an effort to shed what we have come to believe of ourselves and of others, and to look again with fresh eyes, and to see what's in front of us, not what we remember, but just what's there, without the baggage of the past, or that we could see each other afresh or that we could fall in love with each other, knowing the other is the self. Just allow for this moment to be aware that everyone in our life is in fact ourselves projected out. Because there's only one. There is only one. So let us see in the other the self, and learn to love that self who is me, and I am that self. Allow for that stillness. And give God thanks. In Luke's Gospel for this morning, beginning at verse 27, we're told that some Sadducees, those who say there is no resurrection, came to Jesus and asked him a question. Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies, leaving a wife but no children, the man shall marry the widow and raise up children for his brother. Now, there were 7 brothers. The first married and died childless. Then the second, and the third married her. And so in the same way all 7 died childless. Finally the woman also died. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife will the woman be? For the 7 had married her. Jesus said to them, those who belong to this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy of a place in that age and in the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. Indeed, they cannot die anymore, because they are like angels and are children of God, being children of the resurrection. And the fact that the dead are raised, Moses himself showed in the story about the bush, where he speaks of the Lord as the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now, he is God not of the dead, but of the living, for to him all of them are alive. Then some of the scribes answered, Teacher, you have spoken well. For they no longer dared to ask him another question. The word of the Lord. Oftentimes when we hear of incidences in the life of Jesus with persons offering questions to Jesus, more often than not it is in some way to seemingly set a trap for Jesus. Some trick question, some question that, depending on how it's answered, could get Jesus into more trouble than he was already in. But one of the things that we must not forget in all of this is that within the time of Jesus, where there were rabbis, itinerant rabbis, persons walking the streets and sharing information, there was a practice that you came to the rabbi with a question. And we still see that today in some of the Eastern traditions. The guru would ask, "What is your question? What is it that you want to know?" And I want us to reflect a little bit on that today as we begin our day. What is it that we want to know? Our tradition is one in which, for example, on Sundays we know that the priest or someone else will get up and deliver some message, some sermon, some homily. But there's a likelihood that sometimes these homilies may not necessarily answer the question that persons are asking. Sometimes they just become some more information. And one of the things about having information when it is not asked for is that oftentimes it doesn't sit. And therefore you would find that there are countless persons who go to church Sunday by Sunday, and they would ask questions about things that you're sure that these things were covered time and time again. Or one might say something that one has said before, and persons are amazed to hear it as though they were hearing it for the first time. So what's that all about? And I believe is that they were not asking the question. We provide information to persons who are not asking us the questions that we are answering. So it's a wonderful tradition where there's that conversation going on that is built upon, what do I need to know? And so this morning I wonder, what do you need to know? And are you asking questions? When we listen to the question from scriptures this morning, it is a really interesting question. Because the persons who are asking it are kind of extrapolating onward. Okay, so we understand that if a man dies childless, his brother takes up his wife, and his brother seeks to have children for the sake of the brother. But there were 7, and they all died without having children. Well, in the next life, whose wife will she be? It's a very good question. And it's the kind of thing that we perhaps in our quiet times really want to ask. Because in reality, we can only sort of conjure up life from our own experience as our only reference, what we are living in. And so all we can do is take what life we know and extrapolate on it, and to push it beyond this existence and see how it bears out in the next life. But Jesus offers us an answer that says, no, that doesn't hold true. This existence is this existence. and the rules, the regulations, the ways of engagement that have been designed for this existence are for this existence and this existence alone. A time will come when one will pass on and one will be in another existence. And one will have to exist in that new space according to the directives and the understandings of that space. So yes, we have many questions, but we must ask these questions. We must find persons in our lives that we can ask these questions, so that together we may ponder, together we may come to a greater and greater understanding. It's like the world of science. In the world of science, the scientist always has a question. If you go to do your PhD or your Doctor of Ministry or any research degree, the first thing your supervisor will ask is, what is your question? What is it that you want to know? What is it that you're searching for? And oftentimes you begin with this large question. But then as time goes by, you find that the question narrows and narrows and narrows until you really ask the question that you really want to know. We each have a question at least that we want the answer for. And we need to discern that question. Because that question could very well be connected to our life's work, our very existence. So we need to ask. We need to consider what it is that we want to know. What is it that we want to stretch our minds around? At least to get a glimpse of. We need to be more proactive with our journey. And not simply be passive and sit and wait until someone says something that sounds interesting. We need to constantly be asking, seeking. We don't seek enough. We're always waiting for someone to give us. But they only give us what they have. When we seek and when we ask, we find avenues. There's a saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. What does that mean? It means that when we get ourselves into that place of searching, the ones that are around us may not have the answers, but the very fact that we have gotten ourselves into a space of searching, the answer comes and is brought in several ways. We may be led to a book. A sign or a website may catch our attention, or a physical person may appear in our lives. But it begins with ourselves, with that desire to know, that yearning that we have deep within us that so many of us ignore. That yearning to know, which ultimately is a yearning to know God. Because that is the ultimate for us all. Our paths may be varied. Our questions may be completely different. But we all want to know God. So ask. Ask. Seek. Knock. The Savior tells us this. And He told us this for a reason. Pray, brothers and sisters, that we may have the courage to do those things, to truly search, to really ask, and to really find out what it is that we have come here to know.